Ici, c'est Eustache. Well, now that the attendance is done, we're going to continue with the niveau à laser. You guys already know that. We've already spoken about that in the past, how to set it up. We learned that when we did columns, beams, and slabs. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the theodolite. Your theodolite is an instrument which we don't have because it costs about $16,000. And if we were to give it to a lot of our students, it would probably be broken after a week. So keeping that in mind, we're just going to talk about it. Theodolite is often used when you want to pinpoint long distances in a straight line, or if you want to pinpoint where you want to put, let's say, piles, or if you want to build a fence. Example, let's say you have your property line. Similar example from the one that Dan used this morning, and his house he had put in the middle, if you guys remember. Okay? Let's say you want to picket your fence. Very simple. You can take your theodolite, you point it right here on the corner, and with calculation of your degrees, you can pinpoint exactly where each post would arrive. The difference between using a theodolite and using a different type of laser is a theodolite doesn't just check a level, it gives you the option of also lowering your viewpoint, your optical level, to where you can pinpoint it on the ground. You see this used a lot when we're talking about doing streets, doing bridges. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen them. They look like a big rectangle on a tripod, and they have this. Looks kind of funny, but it looks kind of like an optical level. You know, like a zoom lens on the top of a rifle. That's something we're all familiar with. Okay. Zoom lens on the top of a rifle. It looks a little bit like that, and you always see some guys looking through it like this. L'appareilleur. It's used often it's always used actually by arpenteur. When you go up into the mountains, okay? When you go up into areas where, let's say it's a huge piece of land, acres, okay? You're going to use a different type of theodolite. The other type of theodolite that you're going to use, it's GPS activated. So a GPS activated theodolite, it's a guy, he's standing at his total station, which is another name for the theodolite. It's called the station totale. They stand at it, and he punches in all of his coordinates, all of his dimensions and everything like that into the machine. There's another guy which will go, depending, let's say the land is 2 acres wide. He would go to the other side of the land, and with his ruler, he would take his reading, and from the reading here, he would transmit it by satellite to the machine, regardless of where he is. That's why we don't have it at school. We don't need it. But the one that we are going to use, and which is the one that most of you guys, if you wanted to use one, this is called the first generation of niveau optique, okay, an optical builder's level. This is one that's already set up here. Dan, you want to zoom in on it?
A what?
You want to zoom in on it?
Where's Zoom?
Alright.
I can see it. I can see it.
It's in there? Right.
Yeah, I can see it.
So this. So for our niveau optique, this is the one that you would use as your first generation. Let's say you're just getting started. Okay. This is one you would use. It's the same thing like a laser level. You know, with the laser level, as soon as you're perfectly level, it makes a constant sound, right? This one doesn't make any sound. But once you adjust it to be level, you can rotate it 360 degrees, and everywhere it looks, it's going to be perfectly level. The difference between this one and the laser level is that when you set it up and you rotate it to take your readings, okay, give you an example. Let's say I set it up. It has to be set up inside my work area. Remember the laser level when we did columns, beams, and slabs? We set up the laser level outside the work area and we were able to use it everywhere. It didn't make a difference. This one has to be set up inside your work area, so that way you can transfer, so you can take measurements between 2 points. When you set it up as well, you also want to set it up approximately 1/3 to 2/3 between your points, just to be as accurate as possible. Okay? It also has a maximum reach, a maximum distance. So if I'm using this one, remember my laser level, remember the stabila?
What?
Remember I told you how accurate is it? C'est pas précis là. Yes, Dan in the back. It's perfect up to 1/8 of an inch inside of 300-foot range. That's how precise it is. With this one, first of all, you have to understand the laser level, it levels itself automatically, right? This one doesn't. We adjust the level to this one. So if this one is going to be accurate, it's only going to be accurate according to how good you have set it up, number one. Number two, it's only good up to 150 feet. Beyond that, it's not accurate anymore. So once you set this guy up, if you're going beyond 150 feet, you have to transfer your instrument, which creates a whole bunch of calculations which we're going to get into in the coming days. Now, I want to talk to you guys about how to set this up, seeing as how this is what we're going to be using primarily in this module. First thing, as you guys saw, the base, when we're using it on asphalt, we're using it on concrete, any type of a floor that's smooth. Gosh, this, okay? We have our, you want to grab me one, Simo? On the ground? We have our base. Now with this, the reason why we would use a base for our tripod is to stop the legs from opening, from slipping, from shifting on us. So here I'm going to show you guys how to set one up. No, no. Lenoir. Non, juste un. So this is our base. Remember what we talked about at the base of tripods? It has 3 pins. Those pins are designed to be pressed into the ground to keep your tripod from moving around on you. Because if this guy moves around on you, in the instance with our laser level, remember the laser will turn itself off or it will have to readjust. Or, if we're using an optical level, now this one, it doesn't auto adjust by itself, right? It doesn't auto level itself. You set it up. So now what happens if it moves around on you?
Oh, it's out of level.
So if somebody's walked by and they've accidentally kicked the leg so it's gone down a bit and you're over there and someone's taking readings, you don't know. You don't know. So you have to set this up on the asphalt. You take the strings and you put them over top of the bottom of the tripod. Remember on the tripod there are feet. If I can pick this up and show it to you. Remember on the bottom of the tripod? It has feet, right? So the elastic rubber bands, they come up over top of the foot to anchor it in place. Also in the base, you can see the pins of the tripod, there's a hole. You put the pins of the tripod into the hole to keep it stable so that it doesn't move around on you. So now, my base and my tripod are securely in place. And it won't move around. So even if somebody comes and they touch it, it might shift left or right, but it's always going to stay at the right height. You follow?
Yeah.
That's setting up the base. Second thing you need to know when setting this up. When you see some of those guys doing it the other leg, right? Sometimes you see them, they're bent over like this looking inside, right? What does that tell you? They're too low. What happens when you see somebody like this? It's too high. So when you set up your optical level, okay? I'm gonna adjust my tripod. Okay? Right now, it's not even close to being level, right? When you open this up, you want this to be almost at eye height. As high up as you can get it, so this way you don't have to bend over and you don't have to stand up, okay? So pick it up, you adjust it to where you want it, you lock the legs to where you're comfortable. This does not have to be perfectly level, but it has to be close. It has to be within 6% for it to be able to work with the optical level. So now I come with my optical level. Once this is set up in place, at the bottom you'll have a red knob to screw it into the bottom of your optical level. Okay? So I'm going to place it up on top.